Hello and welcome to the fourth and final episode in our Layout to Live series. Today we're finally going to get this website pushed out live and promoted inside the admin bar community. But before we do that, we have a few loose ends we need to clear up. First, we're going to check all the metadata and go through this website to make sure that we have the back end of things all taken care of. And we're going to go through my pre-launch checklist. This is going to take us through a bunch of different steps just to double check our work and make sure we have everything in place. This is going to include cross-browser testing. We're going to test the mobile responsiveness, and we're going to go in pretty deep with accessibility. Now, once we wrap all that up, we're going to go ahead and push this website live, go through the post-launch checklist to connect this to our backup systems and make sure that our security is all set up, and then we'll go live inside the admin bar community and start promoting this website. So if you're ready to see this thing finally get live, then stick around and let's get started.
This is you. You go to the park to relax, to enjoy your time as a freelancer. Your freedom, right? But what ends up happening is that your client wants a website right away. So what do? You get your laptop out of your bag super fast, try to log in, try to get everything done ASAP. The client keeps texting you for updates, but you simply cannot log into your WP admin. And you're spiraling, you don't know what to do anymore. But this could be you. You, freelancer B, chilling, enjoying your day as a freelancer in the park, and you receive a message from your client. You open your laptop and start building their website on InstaWP because you know that InstaWP will never fail you. And just like that, you have a website online. Now you can go for a stroll in the park, super relaxed, with a happy client under your belt.
So before we jump into the nitty gritty here, I just want to kind of get you caught up on what's happened between the last episode and this episode, just a few little tweaks to the site here. So we've had a bunch of people submit their deals. So you can see all of these have been added to our deals custom post type here. I was able to import some of the other ones that come in from a third-party system in, and then our front end submission form is taking care of the rest. I also realized on here that once I got all these deals in, we didn't really have a field for when the deal is valid. I think it's going to be important for the user to know when they can actually claim this deal. So I went ahead and set that up as well. Let me show you what I did for that. Here in ACF field groups under deals, I just added two new custom fields. One is the start date and one is the end date. And if we go in here to any one of these deals, we'll just edit this main WP one. We can see we have a start date and an end date here. So if we go back to the front end, I'll show you how that's actually connected in through the dynamic data. We'll edit this page, wait for these query loops to come in, and I just used Taylor Drayson's template tags here to bring in those fields. So this is just static content, offer valid, and then I have the field deal start date, and then a dash, and then field deal end date. And that'll just make sure that everybody can see on the front end when these dates are valid. I also got the information from InstaWP for their deal down here. So I went ahead and replaced that website Ipsum with the information they supplied for their deal. Now we still are using this page of home here. So I want to go ahead and set that as our home page so we don't have to go to another page here. So we'll go in here into settings, reading, and we'll set a static page. We'll change that from our style guide to our home page. And now when we just go to the full URL here, it's just going to take us right to our deals page, which is exactly what we want. Now we need to go ahead and take care of some of this metadata. I'm not too worried about SEO because of the length of the time this page is going to be up. We're probably not going to get any organic rankings, but if this is shared on social media, I definitely want to make sure we have all that information there. Now, I don't think we included an SEO plugin. We'll double check here. Doesn't look like we did, and an SEO plugin is just going to make it easier for us to do that. So I'm going to do Slim SEO, which is usually my go-to if I don't have really in-depth SEO needs. So we'll just go ahead and install and activate Slim SEO here. And now if we go to our pages, all pages, we'll go to our home page, we can add a little bit of this data. So here under the meta title, I'm just going to call this WordPress Black Friday deals. And then for the meta description, we'll go ahead and put in check out the best Black Friday deals for web designers and developers. Now, that's going to show up in our little social media preview, so that's perfect. I don't need to get that all the way to 160 characters because it's going to be truncated anyways, and I think that will just about fit. Now, I do want to have a open graph image for this, so I've gone ahead and prepared something here in Figma. We'll go ahead and export this out. Just put it inside my downloads folder, and we'll go here and upload this image. So we'll grab that Black Friday image and select it in here. I'll go ahead and just copy and paste that same one for Twitter there. And we should be good on that. So we'll go ahead and save that. I think that's all we need to do for this, just to make sure that it shows up correctly whenever we share it on social media. Now I notice our site title, we don't have a favicon here. So let's jump into the customizer. We'll go into site identity. I think Black Friday deals hyphen the admin bar is fine for the title here. So we'll go in here to our site icon. We'll just select the logo we already have uploaded here. It's a perfect square, so it's going to work fine for our favicon. We'll skip cropping here, and we can see now the admin bar logo is showing up here as our favicon. We can go ahead and get out of the customizer here. We'll go in here and we'll just check. I use this all-in-one SEO browser extension. It gets a lot of the data that I usually need just to double check my work here. We can see that, yes, of course, this is still set to no index. We'll turn that off when we set the site live. But we can see we have our title here of WordPress Black Friday deals and our description, which is perfect. We can see our favicon up here. So I think we're all good to go on that. So the next thing I want to do is actually work through our pre-launch checklist. Since we're getting pretty close to being able to launch the site, I have both a pre and post launch checklist. All of that is at copilot.theadminbar.com. You can get access to all these lists. We have a whole bunch of different kind of checklists in here, but what I'm really worried about are the launch ones. So I'm just going to search here for launch, and we can see we have our website pre-launch and our website post-launch. So we'll go ahead and go through our pre-launch now, and after we get the site published, we'll go through and check our post-launch. Now I don't think we'll have to spend a bunch of time on each item on these checklists. Some of these things are going to be fairly straightforward, and some of them we might have to spend a little bit more time on. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and move this to the left just so I have our page here open next to it. Content audit. Now I've just been copying and pasting everything that people send us over, so I think we're pretty good on that. We're not using any more lorem ipsum or anything, so I think that one we can just check off. As far as the visual inspection, we'll go through and test this in different browsers and different device sizes, but right now I think everything's looking the way I want to. Our little pop-ups working perfectly. So I think we're good on the visual inspection as well. So link validation is our next one here. Let's just go through here and make sure that everything is linking properly. I'm just going to be looking in this bottom left corner where you can kind of see the preview for the link. So that is going to WS Form. Our Pi Calendar one's working. All of these are using a loop. So if one's working, I'm pretty confident that the rest in that loop are working. This Perf Matters one is working. NovaShare, WP Bakery, all those seem to be working perfectly. We have this little button here that opens our modal. We have our InstaWP, that one's working as well. And I did go ahead and link this to the playlist I have set up for these videos here so people can access that. If they make it all the way down to the bottom and happen to notice that, I'm not too concerned. So I think as far as link validation, everything seems to be working great. Interactive elements, including forms. I know the forms are working because I've been getting submissions. And like I said, this interactive is working here. We'll do company test. I didn't spell that right, but it doesn't matter too much. We'll do tab website here. We'll submit this. It looks like it went through. Let's just go check on the back end and we'll make sure to delete this one. So company test pending. And if we look at this, it has the information we submitted. So we know all that is working as well. Go ahead and delete that and we can check off our interactive elements. All right, the next is our responsive check. So what I'm gonna do is just go back to the front end of the page here. We'll go into the inspector. I'm gonna kind of push all this off to the side because I don't actually need that. And we'll just test this on a few different device sizes. So maybe we go with a Surface 7 Pro. This will give us kind of our tablet view. Here, this one's stacking. This one looks great too. All of our silver ones look good. Bronze ones are looking good. And all the standard listings look good. So that's great. Let's check here. For some reason, it's showing too much height. Let's bump that down. Oh, it's not going to let us bump it down. So let's see, maybe we can zoom out a little bit. There we go. That's still not showing us all of it. All right, so if we click on our modal there, that's popping up and looking fine on tablet. So I think we're all good there. All right, let's move to maybe an iPhone 14 Pro Max. That'll give us a fairly decent size one. I think we can zoom back in a little bit here. All right, so this is stacking just fine. Our deal here looks good. These are looking just fine. All of these are just stack one on top of the other, so I think this is all good. Let's go ahead and check our modal as well while we're here. And our little close button kind of moves to the top, which I think is just fine, so we can go ahead and close that out. So yeah, I think we're looking all good on mobile here as well. I'm sure if there's any other issues, they will be brought up in time. So we're just going to go ahead and check that item off the list as well. So accessibility is next. We're going to have to do quite a bit on that as far as testing. So I'm going to come back to that one. We're actually going to skip it for right now. As far as SEO, like I said, we're not going to do a whole lot in terms of SEO because I'm just not anticipating this site will get any kind of rankings. We have a page title in there and a meta description. Not really worried about a sitemap because this is just a one-page website, so I think we're good. As far as legal and compliance, we do probably need to add the privacy policy and terms of service. I'll be able to use those directly from the admin bar's website since this is kind of like a subsidiary website. You know, it's going to be on a subdomain. So we'll go ahead and grab the links for those. Let's go here to theadminbar.com. If I can type it, theadminbar.com. We'll scroll down here to where we have our privacy policy and terms of service. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this link address. We'll go back here to this page, edit, go to the bottom here. So let's think about how we want this to actually show up. So we have this little link here. I'm wondering if we don't just wrap this in a div, and we can make this div flex. I'm not going to worry about classes because this is just kind of one off here. We'll align everything to the center. And I think we can just duplicate this. We'll do privacy policy, and we can remove that link, relink it. We'll link this to the admin bar's privacy policy. We'll duplicate that again, take off the link, terms of service. Go ahead and grab that link. So that's here, terms of service, copy link address. We'll paste it in here. All right, so those are in there. Let's go back and add some gap here. So maybe we do like 40. Our container width here is a little bit narrow. So let's see, all of this is inside that container. I wonder if we don't move this outside that container and then move it back to the bottom. That'll just make sure we have room for all of this at the bottom here. So I think that's going to work fine on desktop, but let's check it on tablet. Scroll back down here. They still have plenty of room left and right on tablet. And if we go to mobile, we have this issue here. So let's go ahead and grab that container again. And we'll just go make sure this is still set to flex. We'll change this to column, and we'll change our gap to maybe, I don't know, 16 pixels. Why do these have such a huge gap in between them? Let's see here. Go ahead and zero that out. Because they all have a top margin of 80. So let's go ahead and get rid of that on these terms of service links. There we go. I think we'll go ahead and center align all this still. So we'll go ahead and change that to center align. This text is left aligned. I think center align's fine on mobile here. All right, so that is perfect. That takes care of the legal compliance stuff. So we'll go close the admin bar and we can check that off. Contact details. We don't really have many contact details here. They can always go to theadminbar.com and find all that. So that would be important on a lot of sites, but not here. 404 and error handling. We probably have our default 404 page. Let's just see. So yeah, this just comes directly from my child theme. I don't think anybody's going to land on a 404 here. Let's see, that searching link, that works and brings up a search bar, or they can go back home. So for this use case, a little one-page site, I think that's just fine. All right, performance optimization. So let's see here. Let's just grab this here. I don't have Perf Matters turned on at this point. So let's just get kind of a benchmark here. We still have our coming soon. So we're gonna have to jump back in here into our plugins, and I've built a little coming soon plugin. I'm just gonna deactivate that so we can go ahead and get to that homepage. And let's go ahead and jump into the inspector here. And we'll run a quick little lighthouse test just to get us a benchmark here. So we'll go ahead and test performance, accessibility, best practices, and SEO. Okay, so even without Perf Matters, we're getting a pretty good score here. Let me just double check that Perf Matters wasn't installed. Okay, it's installed but not activated, and we're getting a 100% performance score. So I'd say the performance is doing pretty well. We can see here our SEO is down, but we have this page blocked from indexing. So that's probably accounting for that poor score there, and we'll be able to fix that in our post-launch checklist. So as far as performance optimization, I'd say we're good. We'll probably turn on Perf Matters, but I don't even know that it's necessary with us scoring that well. All right, browser testing. So let's go ahead. I keep all the major browsers here on my machine. So we'll check this real quick. I'm not going to do anything super in-depth here. I just want to make sure that everything seems to be working. If I click on that, it opens up. Let's check our modal down here, because that's another thing that might not work in every browser, but looks like that's working there. So I think we're good in Firefox. Let's go ahead and get Safari open and drag it over here. We'll paste that in. Again, all this stuff looks good. These seem to be linking just fine and opening up in a new tab. And we'll go down here to our modal. Modal seems to be working perfectly. So I would typically do some more in-depth browser testing, but pretty simple site, so I think that's good enough. The major browsers here, this is a Chromium-based browser, so we're good on all the Chrome stuff. All right, database cleanup. So I will often use Perf Matters for this, because we can go in here and go ahead and activate Perf Matters. We can see there are a lot of settings already turned on in here. These are just done in my child theme. I have this export file with all of my defaults already set up, so we don't have to go through and change much of this. Like I said, the performance is already doing great, so I'm not too concerned with it. Let's go ahead and scan the database here and see what we find. We have a bunch of revisions in here. Let's just go ahead and clean all of this up. Some of these are at 0, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and optimize this and press OK. Again, this came from a brand new install, so I don't think there's going to be too much optimization to do here, but we went ahead and cleaned up some of the trash we had in there, so that's good enough for this. All right, documentation and training. Often I will put this together for my clients if they're going to be using the website themselves. I'm going to be the only one using this, so I think we're all good. Asset verification, making sure everything we have in place for launch. So that's going to include all of our credentials and access to the DNS. All these are my own properties, so I definitely have all of that. Communicating the launch process. I have an email script that I send over to clients to take care of that, just to make sure they know exactly what's going to happen as we launch the website. We're not too worried about that. I am going to be launching this site on InstaWP. I haven't done that before on their live hosting, so we're going to have to kind of figure that out as we go, but I feel comfortable enough that we'll be able to knock that out. So I think all we're left here is our accessibility. So let's see, let's go back into our site here. I'm going to go into plugins, add new, and I'm going to search for accessibility checker, and we'll go ahead and search for that and install this. All right, we'll get it activated. And we'll go back to our page here, all pages, and we'll go home. And once these query loops load in, looks like they're good. We'll scroll down here to the bottom, and accessibility checker will go ahead and run its check and see what it found. So it looks like we've done pretty good just by default here. No errors, no contrast errors. We do have 35 warnings here. So let's go into our details. I bet I can guess what this is. All right, so we have 32 of these are all of our links that are opening up in a new tab. So there's probably debate on exactly how you should handle this. I will try to avoid opening things in a new tab when it's not necessary, but as I think through the user experience of this page, I imagine most people are gonna come here and wanna open up a bunch of deals and then go check them out. So I'd imagine, ooh, Pie Calendar, I wanna check out what that's about. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what Termageddon's deal is. We can go in here and we'll check out Pete's course. And so they're going to go through here and open up a bunch of tabs and then go through them. I think that's probably the user experience people are going to want. So I do want to go ahead and keep those new windows there for all the links. However, we do want to make sure that we're handling this okay. So let's go back into the back end here. We can go to plugins, add new. This is kind of the easy way to do this. We'll do new window warning. And if we search for that plugin, that's by Equalize Digital as well, same as the accessibility checker. It's really nice because all you have to do is install it and activate it. And now if we go back to our pages, all pages, and we go home, wait for those query loops to load in. And now I'm going to imagine when they run this test again, we're going to see a lot less errors. So yeah, we went down from 30 something down to 3 warnings, which is great. Now the only problem with this is it's going to change the way our website looks slightly. So you can see now on all of our links, we have this little icon, this new window icon. We also have a little tooltip that says opens up in a new window. Here in a second, we'll test all this with a screen reader and we'll be able to hear that it's actually telling folks that it's opening up in a new window. But I can imagine since some of these buttons don't have much space on them, let's see, yep, we're running into it right here where now it kind of breaks the layout of this button. That's maybe more of a flaw in the design than anything. I don't know exactly what the rules are on this, but we do have an auditory way, which again, we'll show you here in a second. And we have the visual way with this little tooltip that says opens up in a new window. So I'm wondering if this icon is absolutely necessary. So I'm sure accessibility people might yell at me for this. But we're going to go in here and grab the selector for this little icon. Let's see here. This is this accessibility new window warning external links icon. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that class on my clipboard. We'll jump into the customizer here, additional CSS. Scroll down to where we can see one there. And I'm going to do a display of none on that. So that gets rid of the icon. My thinking is that we still have an auditory way through the screen reader, and we still have a visual when people hover over this that it opens in a new window. Maybe we need to test that in other browsers, but I think we can probably get away with that. Again, the accessibility people watching this can yell at me if that's not right, but I'm going to take a little liberty here for the sake of design and just leave it at the tooltip without the icon. All right, so let's see what our other warnings were about here. Sometimes the warnings are important and things we need to fix, and sometimes they're just a symptom of the testing tool that can't exactly see everything. So I see we still have 3 warnings here. So let's check out in our details here. We have ARIA hidden. So we can try to see here what this might be. My guess is this is an SVG that's 1M by 1M. I'm almost guessing that this is in the admin bar across the top of the website. Since we're logged in, we can go ahead and view these on the page, but I'm just going to try to get a sense for them here. It's hard to read an SVG, of course, but that's exactly what I'm thinking it is. So ARIA hidden true on these 3 items. And if we click on one of these, oh yeah, we can actually see right here, this plus sign, this X sign, and this search sign. And if we go in here, we can see we have this little search symbol here. We have the plus here. I'm not sure about the close one. So this is still showing some of our other errors that we've already fixed. The close one might be this. Let's see if there's ARIA hidden on this. So we got that selected. I'm not seeing an ARIA hidden on that SVG. So I think we're okay. What I think we're seeing here is actually just warnings from things that are showing up in the admin bar across the website. Obviously, visitors aren't going to be seeing that, so I think we're safe to ignore these issues. So we'll go ahead and ignore these. Again, if Amber's watching and she's cringing at me doing this, please let me know down in the comments so I can make sure to correct that. But I think we're good to ignore all that. Let's just go ahead and save this. We'll refresh it one more time here. Make sure that that loads in. Yeah, and then with all of those cleared out, since we're ignoring those ones in the admin bar, it looks like we're good on all of our accessibility errors. Now, of course, any kind of automated testing like this can only test so much. So that doesn't mean that we've 100% passed all accessibility things here, but we're pretty certain that kind of the basic things that can be tested here are all taken care of. But one thing I want to do, and I try to do it on all my builds, is go through this with the screen reader and just see exactly what happened. So I'm going to try to set this up to where you can hear exactly what the screen reader is saying. Hopefully this comes through in the recording. I didn't test this beforehand, so we'll just have to hope that you can hear all of this here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my screen reader. But what I'm going to do is just kind of tab through this page and make sure that it's announcing things properly and that I'm able to click on links and open our modal and all of that. So here on this page, I'm going to go ahead and hit tab once.
You are currently on a link inside of web content. To click this link, press Control, Option, Space. To exit this web area, press Control, Option, Shift, up arrow.
So we see our skip to content link. This is just default inside of GeneratePress, so it takes care of that for us. We don't have a header or menu or anything to go to, so it's probably not necessary on this page, but we'll just leave it here. Now, once I hit tab again, it should take us down to our next interactive element, which is going to be the button here on our WS form deal. So we'll go ahead and hit tab and see how it announces that.
Visited link. WS form deal. Opens a new window. Article. You are currently on a link. To click this link, press Control, Option, Space.
So perfect. So it went ahead and announced the text on this button. It also said that it opens up in a new window, so that's perfect. We'll go ahead and hit enter and see that it opens up that page.
Web content. Visited link. WS form deal. Opens a new window. Article. You are currently on a link. To click this link, press Control, Option, Space.
That seemed to work perfectly. So let's just tab through and make sure this works on all of our query loops. So I'll go down to the next set here.
High calendar deal opens a new window. You are currently on a link. To click this link, press Control, Option, Space.
That one worked perfectly. We'll go to the next set.
Link, A2 hosting deal opens a new window. You are currently on a link. To click this link, press Control, Option, Space.
Now I'm going to go ahead and tab through a few of them here. You might hear it kind of talking over itself, but what I want to do is just get down to this next set here. Since these are query looped, it's going to read them out the same.
Link, visited, link, Perf deal opens a new window. You are currently on a link. To click this link, press Control, Option, Space.
All right, perfect. So we'll do the same thing. We'll get down here to the standard listings.
Novice share opens a new window. You are visited, level 1, link, WP Bakery opens a new window. You are currently on a heading level 2.
So perfect. All of that is working great. We'll go ahead and tab all the way down till we get here where our modal button is, and then we'll test that with our keyboard as well.
Level 1, visited, list your deal, button. You are currently on a button. To click this button, press Control, Option, Space.
So you can hear this was actually announced as a button instead of a link. Since this is an interactive element, it does need to actually be an HTML button, not just a link. We'll go ahead and hit enter and try to open this up.
Close modal, group. You are currently on a group.
So it announced that we're in a group, and I'm not entirely sure that that's correct. Again, this is using that HIST modal system. I think it's fairly accessible in the fact that I can usually navigate it through my keyboard okay, but it might not be perfect. So definitely would rely on some accessibility experts on that. But we'll go ahead and tab through these fields. What we're going to be hearing is it announcing the field labels for all the fields inside WS Form.
Close modal, button. Close company name star, required, edit text. You are deal description star. Max 224 characters. Required. Edit text. Deal URL star. Required. Edit text URL. You are currently on a text field. To enter text in this field, type. Submit your deal button. You are currently on a button. To click this button, press Control, Option, Space.
And now we'll go ahead and go to our close button in this modal, and we'll try to close it out using just the keyboard.
Close modal button. You are currently on a button. To click this button, press Control, Option, Space. List your deal button. Article. You are currently on a button. To click this button, press Control, Option, Space.
So perfect. That was able to close it out just using the enter key on my keyboard. So I feel like we can at least navigate through that with the keyboard. Hopefully that there's no huge issues in that, but I feel like that's at least passable for now. So let's go ahead and just check the rest of these links down here.
Link, get InstaWP, opens up, visited, link, watch this site be built on our layout to live series, opens, link, privacy policy, opens a new window, link, terms of service, opens a new window. You are currently on a link. To click this link, press Control, Option, Space.
Okay, so I think we're pretty good on the screen reader test. I'm going to go ahead and close VoiceOver so we don't have to listen to that any longer. And we'll go back to our checklist here and just check off accessibility. I'm sure there are more things we can do, but I feel pretty confident that we're doing a pretty decent job in terms of accessibility here. One last thing I want to check is the alt tags for all of our images. Again, I'm going to use the all-in-one SEO extension for this. If we go over here to images, we'll see there's 12 total images. 12 of those images have an alt tag and none of them don't. I'm not entirely sure an alt tag is necessary for each one of these deal images, but you can see we've gone ahead and described each one of these images as far as alt text, so it's there should we need it, just in case there's any kind of important information inside those images that aren't actually listed out in the text of their deal. At least all of those can be read by a screen reader just by viewing the alt text of those images. All right, so let's just double check that we got everything on our pre-launch checklist here. It looks like we've gone through and checked all of these, so I think we're good. We will go back after we get this website live and we'll go to our post-launch checklist. Some of these things we're just going to be checking again to make sure they're still working the same on the live hosting as they did on the other hosting. And then there's some things that we just can't do until we get the site live. Things like allowing indexing. We're not going to want to do that now since we're kind of on a subdomain and just developing the site. Once we get this published to its domain and we're ready to go, then we can go ahead and allow indexing. We could also submit this to search engines. Again, I'm not too concerned about that in this case. But there's a few other things that we just need to check once we get this actually pushed to its final domain. So we'll come back to this checklist once we're done here. So back here inside of my InstaWP dashboard, I'm ready to go ahead and push this site to the live domain and put this on real hosting. Now, I haven't done this process with InstaWP before, so you're going to be seeing it for the first time right along with me. I imagine I'm going to have to go into my Cloudflare account and set up some DNS records, but we'll find all that out together. So here under the actions, we have a go live button. I'll go ahead and click on that and we're going to host with InstaWP Live. So we'll go to the next step And since this is just one site, it's going to get a few little spikes of traffic, but I feel like this light plan is going to be plenty. It has 2 CPUs, 25 gigabytes of disk space, and 400,000 visitors per site. I think this is going to be absolutely plenty for what we need here. So we'll go ahead to the next step. We can go ahead and pick the data center here. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. We'll pick Washington. PHP, let's go with 8.2, and then our domain name. I'm guessing this is going to be our temporary domain name or whatever we need to get this live, and then we'll point it to our actual domain name. So I'm going to say tab-bf for Black Friday. We'll hit next. And it looks like our staging site was on 8.0. I don't think that's going to make a difference, and I'd like to be on 8.2 if possible, so we'll go ahead and hit continue. I don't want to add any themes or plugins here, so we'll go ahead and hit next step. And it says you are just a step away from creating a new hosted site. Do you wish to continue? We'll go ahead and hit continue. Now I'll keep an eye on how long this takes, but I'll pause this video here so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. This entire process only ended up taking about 3 minutes to complete, and it was really just a matter of waiting until the progress bar filled all the way up. All right, so it looks like our new site is live here. I'm gonna go ahead and copy these credentials. Of course, I will have to delete them here in a few, but we'll go ahead and copy those in case I need them. And we'll do the magic login. All right, so let's just take a look around the site, make sure everything still looks good. It looks like our font is no longer registered, so we'll need to go back and check on the installation of that font. I have seen that happen when I migrate using the GeneratePress font library, but everything else seems to be coming through pretty good. Let's check our little modal, that works good. So let's hop into the back end here. We'll go to Appearance, Font Library. And all I had to do before was just upload those fonts again, and it seemed to take care of that. So I'm gonna just go ahead and grab those fonts. We'll drag them in here. We can see that we still have 2 installed, the 900 and the 400. And now if we go visit the front end of the site, we do have the fonts loading in here. So that's great. Now we're still at this temporary domain here, and I actually want to point this to the final domain. I am going to be using a subdomain for this, just bf.theadminbar.com. So let's hop back into our account here and figure out how we can get that done. I'm going to check the hosting tab first, and we can see here that we have this one site hosted. Let's go in here and see if we can map our domain. So here, what we want to do is bf.theadminbar.com, and it looks like we need to point our A records to these 2 IP addresses, and we need to disable the proxy if we're using Cloudflare, which we are. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to jump into my Cloudflare account so we can get these records added. All right, so here inside of my Cloudflare account, we're going to go to add a new record. We have the domain here, which we're just going to put in BF for the subdomain. We can see that that's pointing to bf.theadminbar.com. And we'll go ahead and grab this first IP address and paste it in here. And we're going to make sure to turn this proxy status off. We'll go ahead and hit save. And it looks like we actually need to add a second one here. So we'll go ahead and copy the second one. And again, BF. And paste that in here, turn the proxy off, and hit save. So we have these 2 records in here now. We'll go back into InstaWP and we'll hit map domain. It looks like that has been successfully mapped. So let's go ahead and test this out. We'll go to bf.theadminbar.com. That's actually redirecting us back to the InstaWP URL. So let's see what we might have done wrong here. We'll go back to map domain. Oh, we just need to set this to the primary domain and not the alias. So let's go ahead and put this in here again, bf.theadminbar.com, and we'll use map domain again. All right, it looks like it said it successfully did it, so we'll give it a try again, bf.theadminbar.com. Now we can see this is bringing in the correct site. Obviously, we lost our fonts again here. So I think this is actually a GeneratePress issue with the way it writes all the CSS for these fonts. Anytime I've migrated domains, I've ended up with this issue. So we'll go ahead and log in here just so we can test it all out. So again, back to Appearance, Font Library. I'm gonna go ahead and drop these 2 fonts in again. And I'll make sure to drop a note over to GeneratePress to see if they can help me figure out what causes that. But now if we go to the front end, we are seeing the right fonts and we are on the right domain here. Now I notice it looks like it might have changed the name of our website here. So I'm going to jump into the customizer. We'll go here to Appearance, Customize, Site Identity, and we're going to call this Black Friday Deals hyphen the admin bar. All right, perfect. So that takes care of that. And it looks like this site is live. Let's check it in an incognito window as well, bf.theadminbar.com. And it looks like everything's coming across perfectly. All right, let's do a quick little Lighthouse test while we're at it. We'll go in here, Lighthouse, and we'll make sure we turn on all of these. I don't think I disabled the search engine no index yet, so let's just check that before I do that. We are a couple days before this actually gets announced, so I'm going to put the coming soon screen back on here, but for now we'll go ahead and do this and we'll analyze the page and see what kind of scores we get. All right, so it looks like we got a 92 for performance. There are some things here we can probably clean up. We got 100 for accessibility, 96 for best practices. Looks like there's some errors here. All right, so it looks like we're still having something pulling up that old font. I'm wondering if there's some caching here that's being set at InstaWP. So let's go back into our install here and we'll go into, oh, here's a purge cache option right there. So we'll go ahead and purge that. We'll close it. Let me go ahead and just copy this URL. I'm going to close this private window and start a new one. Paste that in there. Inspect, and we'll jump in and do another Lighthouse test here. So we're still seeing these fonts here. So we're going to have to track down what that issue is because it's still trying to look for these fonts at that old domain, that temporary domain. So I need to figure out what's going on with that. But for now, let's go ahead and get that coming soon page back on here just since this is live on the internet, and I'll do some debugging here. So I'm going to turn back on that coming soon plugin. That way, if anybody goes to this website at the live domain, they'll just get a little splash screen here that means nothing to them. All right, perfect. So I need to try to work on debugging this. I think I'll pause the video and try to figure out exactly what's going on so you don't have to see me struggling through it. And then whenever I figure that out, I will come right back to you and I'll explain what I tracked down. And just like I suspected, it was user error all along. It took me about 10 or 15 minutes to figure out exactly what the problem is, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I ran into here just in case the same thing happens to you. What I forgot is that I had Perf Matters installed and activated, and I have this remove unused CSS turned on, and I didn't clear out the cache for the used CSS, so it was actually every time I was running that Lighthouse report, it was pulling that cached version, which still had the old font files. I actually, in the process of that, ended up uploading new font files again. I went through to the Google Font Helper. Here it's this first result if you search for Google Font Helper, and I just searched for Outfit, which is the font I'm using on here, and I downloaded the regular version and the 900 version. If you just check those and go down here and download them, that will actually download a WAF2 file. I had originally uploaded TTF files, which are quite a bit bigger. So when I went back in here into the appearance and the font library, I re-uploaded those WAF2 files. For whatever reason, it called it Outfit Thin this time, even though I don't see that in the file name, but that doesn't bother me too much. However, when I re-uploaded those, I realized that that cache file was still loading. So like I said, once I went in here into Perf Matters, into the CSS, and cleared that used CSS, that problem went away. I, of course, went back into InstaWP and purged that cache again. And we'll go ahead and run a new Lighthouse report. So bf.theadminbar.com. We'll go ahead and jump in here into the inspector again, and we'll run us a Lighthouse report. Now, I'll go ahead and check all the categories. I do have the discouraged search engines turned on, so we won't get a great SEO score, but the rest of these should be doing pretty well. And we can see now we're getting 100% for the best practices, and our performance is up to 96. We did have that a little bit higher earlier, but anytime it's 95 or above, I feel like we're kind of splitting hairs. I'm sure I could go optimize that a little bit more and squeeze a little bit more out of this. In fact, sometimes if you just run it for a second time, you'll get a better score the second time. But honestly, anything 95 and above, I'm pretty happy with. See, on the second result, we got a 99. I'm absolutely thrilled with the 99, even though we don't get confetti. That's good enough for me. Now that we've run those tests, I'm gonna just jump back in here and turn our Coming Soon plugin on again. I wasn't able to leave that on while I was testing, so we'll go ahead and activate that, and we can start going through our post-launch checklist. Again, until I actually announce this, I'm gonna have to discourage search engines, but we can get through a lot of this here. So I'm just gonna go back to Copilot, and I'll go ahead and log on here, and we'll just search for the launch checklist, and we'll go to the post-launch, and we'll just go through some of these here. So interactive elements, let's go ahead and bounce back to the front end of this site. All we have really is this form here in the modal. That's still working fine. We'll go ahead and check that off. Visual inspection, I've been checking all that, but everything seems to be working just the way I expected. So since we just did the pre-launch, I think we're good on that. Security protocols, we are seeing SSL, a firewall is enabled, and not all of our security precautions have been put into place. For this, I actually think we want to go install PatchStack. So I'm going to go to my PatchStack account, and we'll go ahead and log in here. We'll go to my sites, and we're going to add a new site. This is going to be bf.theadminbar.com. Continue to plugin sync. We'll go ahead and download this plugin. Go back into our install and get that installed and activated. Plugins, add new. We'll upload the PatchStack plugin and install it and activate it. So it's checking our sync status now. We'll go ahead and go back in here. It looks like it takes up to 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that API key and sync it immediately so we can keep moving forward here. Okay, so now we got that all synced, so I know our security is taken care of, so I'm gonna go ahead and check that off. Now, analytics and tracking, I definitely want to get this set up before we get started. So I'm going to go to my Fathom account. That's what I use for analytics. I'll make sure to put a link down in the description. You can actually save $10 on your first month if you want to try it out for yourself. That is an affiliate link. So we'll go in here and do bf.theadminbar.com and save that. This is a WordPress website. And I want to go ahead and use the WordPress plugin. That just gives me the ability to see my analytics dashboard on the back end. So I'm just going to search for Fathom here inside of our install. And we'll go ahead and install our Fathom Analytics plugin and activate it. We'll go here under settings to Fathom Analytics, and we need to put in our site ID. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy that from this end. We'll go back in and paste that in and hit Save Changes. Now if we go back here, we can verify that site code. It's going to need somebody to visit the website, so I may just go in here in an incognito window and get somebody to verify that it's actually working here. Okay, and that has verified, so we're good to go on that. We'll go ahead and go to our dashboard. We've had the one view that I actually did there, so we're good on our analytics setup. I'm not going to worry about tracking anything else inside the analytics. That's pretty good for now. As far as performance, we just tested that. I'm not going to allow indexing yet, and I'm not going to submit to the search engines yet until we get this published on Wednesday. Backup and recovery systems, I'm actually going to be doing this through WP Umbrella. So we can go to wpumbrella.com, get logged in, and we'll go ahead and add a new site to this account. So our steps here are to download the plugin, go to the settings, and copy and paste our API key. So we'll go back in here to plugins, add new, WP Umbrella. We'll install that. Now I can go to the settings page, and I'm gonna have to paste in my API key here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause that while I take care of that. All right, my settings have been synced and the API is connected. So we can go ahead and go back to our dashboard here, and we can see this Black Friday deals website has been added. So let's just go in and make sure everything's good with it. We can see it's already ran some speed tests. We could go through any of these plugins, themes. I think everything is up to date for the time being. So we'll go in here into our backups and the overview section here. It's already taking our first backup now, but I want to go ahead and set up our schedule. I do want to take daily backups, so I'll go ahead and select daily from this list. Doesn't really matter what time. We'll just do 1 a.m. in the morning, and we'll go ahead and hit save and finish, and that way we know it's going to go ahead and take care of our backups. So we can see all of our plugins are showing up here. We don't have any updates available at this time. So we got this all set up to make sure that we can manage this website along with all of our others, as well as the backups that it will take for us. So we'll go back into our checklist here, and we've set up our backup systems. I did go ahead and activate the licenses I had on the website, so we're good on that. Confirming the launch, we don't really need to do that until we actually make this page completely public and announce it to the world. And again, I really don't need to do any training or documentation on this. So at this point, we've done just about everything we can do right now. As of Monday, when I'm recording this, I'm gonna pick this video back up Wednesday when we're actually ready to announce this to the community. So at that point, you'll get to see me finish these last couple steps inside of our checklist, as well as go inside the Admin Bar community and start promoting this page. All right, we're back on Wednesday morning and ready to get this site live. I'm excited to start promoting it and let everybody start checking out all these awesome deals. Speaking of deals, we've gotten quite a few more added to the website. In fact, if I go to our deals here now, we have 64 of these published. So if we go back to the front end, you can see this page has definitely been filled out quite a bit more since the last time you saw it. So lots of good savings opportunities here. So like I said before, we need to go ahead and get everything ready to make this public. I'm going to start by going here into our plugins and turning off our coming soon page. So we'll scroll down here till we find our simple coming soon plugin. We'll go ahead and deactivate that and we can delete it. I don't think we'll need it again. And if we go back and check our checklist here, we need to allow indexing and submit this to search engines. So we'll go in here to our settings reading, and we're gonna uncheck the discourage search engines box. So that should take care of that one for us. And let's jump into Search Console and get this added. So we'll just search for Search Console, hop in here, and we'll go ahead and get a new property added. So this is going to be bf.theadminbar.com. We'll hit continue. And we have that ownership already verified because I've already verified theadminbar.com, so we're good to go on that. Go ahead and go to property. Of course, there's nothing in here quite yet, but at least this is set up and ready to go so we can start capturing any of that information should we get it. So let's go back in here and check off these last two items, which is perfect. Now I did have to set up a new social share image. I had to tweak that a little bit. And before we post this inside the community, I like to update that on Facebook. So I'm gonna do the Facebook debugger tool. We'll go in here. I'm gonna go ahead and just copy this URL just to make sure I get it exactly right. Paste it in here and run the debug tool. And this is already showing the new one, so we're good to go. I'll just scrape it again just to make sure, but it is showing the updated open graph image, so we're good to go on that. All right, so let's hop into the group and promote this. I actually have something pre-written out, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab that from off screen and we'll just paste it into a new post here. So we'll just add a new post, paste this in. Black Friday deals are here, our link's working, our open graph image is here. I do want to add a little bit of separation in between this. This is just a bit of a call to action to get people to submit their deal if they missed that announcement before. So I think we're good there. We'll go ahead and post this. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and pin this as a featured post in the group. So we'll go to pin to featured. And now we can see that's actually been pinned here. So that's perfect. We got that promoted inside the group. We'll be promoting it inside the newsletter and other things as well. Now we didn't cover this inside the series, but I do want to promote this on the admin bar's website. In fact, if we go look at the front end now, I keep this little announcement bar handy on the page so I can do any kind of call to action. I have this add your Black Friday deal to our deals page on there now. I actually want to swap that out for a different notification system that can promote our WP awards and all this Black Friday stuff. So I'm going to jump in here into our elements and we'll find that announcement bar. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off to start with. So I'm just gonna take this from entire site, turn that off so that way it's not gonna show anywhere. And then I'll go back in here to our elements and I have a new element set up here. So this is my new notifications banner. And this is gonna show up as a little special announcements call to action. And when people click learn more, it will show them all the announcements. In fact, I have this get your deal listed. I think I linked that. Yep, I linked that to a jump link under hashtag list. And I don't think I actually set that up on our website. So let's jump in and make sure we take care of that real quick. We'll scroll down here to our call to action section and we'll make sure this has an ID of list. Go ahead and save that. Let's double check that it works on the front end. So hashtag list. And that scrolls us right down to getting your deal listed. So perfect. Okay, so all of this is ready to go. We just need to set the conditions to make it show up. I'm only showing this now when a certain query string is here, which is test equals true. I just did that so I could test this out, but we'll go ahead and turn that off. We'll scroll down to our conditions here. This is set to the entire site, which is perfect. So we'll go ahead and save this. If we go to the front end of the website, we can see that announcement bar is gone, but the notifications aren't actually popping up. I've actually dismissed that and it's saved in my cookies. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into a private window here. And when I open that up, you can see this little special announcement bubble comes up. And if I hit learn more, you can see all these announcements. So we have our Black Friday deals page. The admin bar's products that are on sale have their own little call out here for our 4 products that are on sale. And then a little call to action to vote in the WP Awards since we're up for another award this year. So once we dismiss that, it won't come back for the rest of this session, so that won't bug people too much. So that's perfect, and now we can promote it through our website as well. We'll take just a quick peek here at the analytics. We can see that there are 12 people on this page right now, which is great. We have quite a few people checking this out for the first time, and I just wanted to make sure that all those analytics were actually working. It's excellent to see all this work come together. Everything's live, and now people are actually getting to visit the page. I've gotten tons of great feedback on this series, and hopefully you've really enjoyed this deep dive in going through the entire process of building the website from layout to live. When I set out to do this, I thought all these videos would be 10 to 20 minutes long, but they ended up being 45 or even an hour long, which is great because we got to go in a lot of detail, and hopefully you were able to uncover quite a few gems in there. A huge shout out to our sponsor, InstaWP. As you can see, setting up all this hosting couldn't have been easier, and the performance scores on our website are just blazing fast, so I couldn't be happier with how all that hosting turned out. If you want to check out InstaWP, there is an offer down in the video description below. Of course, I'd love you to go check out our Black Friday deals page as well. You can just go to bf.theadminbar.com and check out all the cool deals we have on offer. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, and if you want to make sure to keep up with what's going on at the admin bar, hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.